Hello, I'm V with Passions and Distractions, and I'm back with a new haircut and with the third card in my very first 3x1 challenge. Now, friendly reminder, if this is the first video that you've tuned into about this, my 3x1 challenge is where I try to make 3 different occasion cards out of one stamp set. Now, so far, using the Simon Says One with Nature stamp set, I've made a birthday card, and then I actually managed to make not one, but 2 sympathy cards. But I didn't want to count that second sympathy card as my third card. I already knew that I wanted some sort of thank you card. I'm assuming it's because it's leaves that I just tend to think autumnal, Thanksgiving, that sort of thing. So without much further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and show you the results of this particular challenge. But be sure to stick around at the end where I'm going to introduce you to the next stamp set that I'll be using for my next round of 3x1 challenges. See you in a minute. So, as I said, there's something about leaves that just make me think autumn. And I think my color choices here really prove that I meant that. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a soft glow coming out of the center, and it gradually just vignettes out into darker colors. So I started in the center with the Hero Arts color, kind of a yellow called Soft Vanilla. Then I blended another Hero Arts color around that, and this one is called Pumpkin Pie. So it's orange, but it definitely has some brown undertones. Finally, for my very outer edge, I'm using a Stampin' Up color called Soft Suede. So I blend that around the orange, and then as I work back and forth, I blend the brown into the orange, and then the orange out into the brown, and then the orange into the yellow, and then the yellow out into the orange. If you've ever seen me ink blend, it's the same process as always. I had not ever actually tried it this way before, but I had a very distinct vision in my head of the color emanating from the center, and I don't know, I get kind of campfire vibes from this. So there's the warmth in the center where I picture the sentiment, and then it just gradually, as I said, turns into this autumnal feeling vignette. This is one time where I had a really clear picture of what I wanted to do. So here's what I wanted to do. I took the leaf, and then I took the stamp that's supposed to fill in the leaf, and I got them all inked up in brown and stamped them right in the center of that glow. Then I counted out how many squares those leaves took up on the MISTI side by side. Turns out it was 6. So I moved the paper over 6 grid marks, inked up my stamp, and pressed it down again. I wanted to create my own pattern paper with these leaves. After that, I scooched it back to the center, and then I moved it over 6 squares from the center again. So now I'd be able to stamp on the other side, and I would have a continuous line. Now, in retrospect, looking at this, I really like how that looks too. But that was not the plan that I had, and I'm quite happy with what I do end up doing. So as you see, I recenter it, scooching it back over the 6 spaces. I close the lid, and I double check that I have it recentered, and then I count how many squares tall it is, which was 7. So I scooched my paper up 7 grid squares. Scooch, scooch, scooch. Get it all magneted down. And then I put that in place, but I didn't want the leaves to just be a direct line. I wanted the fill-in leaf to be under one of the outline leaves and vice versa. Actually, turns out I scooched over just a little bit too far, so I recentered it. So I got that all inked up, stamped it down, and then it's the same process over again. Just move it over 6 squares and keep stamping the design. And then, of course, I did the same thing to make the top row. After that, it was a simple matter of cutting out the die cut out of a nice gold paper and just gluing it down in the center. In retrospect, it might not have been a bad idea to put a piece of vellum as a shadow underneath, but I didn't do that. I just instead glued it down, then glued it to a brown card base, which I ultimately glued down to a yellow folded top fold card base. I just didn't show that in this video. And ta-da! Here is the finished card. Now, to be honest, it's probably one that I'm going to save as a thank you for October or November, just because, like I said, autumn vibes. But I really do love how this turned out, and I got to experiment with a new technique. And we're back. So, I've now finished the third card from this set, and there's a couple of things that I've learned. And the first one is that I didn't get bored. I gotta be honest. I thought working with mainly just one set, even though I'd given myself the latitude to use die cuts, use pattern paper, basically do whatever I want, as long as this stamp set was basically the star of the show. I didn't feel bored. I still have ideas that I would like to try. I didn't feel limited. I felt very inspired. I felt very creative, and I felt very happy with everything that I did create. So, you know, there is a part of me that kind of wants to keep exploring it and see what other ideas I come up with, but that's not the essence of the challenge for me. You know, while everybody's doing kind of their own thing with it, for me, the challenge is I want to make 3 kinds of cards out of each stamp set. So it's time for me to move on. Plus, it's not like I'm giving away the stamp set. I am keeping it. So I will be able to circle back around to all of my great ideas. So I'm not too worried about it. So now it's time to pick the new stamp set. And I have to tell you, I did not anticipate that that would be a surprisingly hard part of the challenge. So I immediately, you know, trying to flip through, find the new set, I came up with some accidental guidelines. This wasn't intentional, but I started flipping through and realizing, wow, I really love nature theme. So leaves, trees, flowers, the whole bit. And since I had just worked with a nature theme, I wanted to make sure that I'm really, you know, branching out and trying different things. So immediately I decided I didn't want to use any nature themed. And then I started to think, well, that one didn't have a whole lot of actual images. Maybe I want something that has a whole lot to choose from. So I started looking around for different sets like that. But that also is not really exactly the essence of the challenge. If I start flipping around and picking and choosing too much, then it's really not all that different from any time I'm making a card. You know, I'm going, oh, this is the set that appeals to me today, and that's what I'm gonna use. So I decided to start back at the beginning of my binder organizational system. I did still pass all the nature stuff because, hey, we've all had our fill of leaves for the moment. But I decided that if it wasn't leaves and it wasn't trees, it was pretty fair game. And the next set that I came up with is this one. I got a little backing paper there just so you can see it. So it's really cute. It has this really big fortune cookie, a smaller one, a bowl of miso soup, some sushi, some nigiri, a heart. It's got some cute little sentiments. So I think this is going to be a really fun one to work with. I don't see myself getting a sympathy card out of it, but that's okay. You know, that's why there's 5 kinds and I really just need to be making 3 out of them. So we're going to see what I come up with for this one. Birthday feels easy. Probably a congratulations. But, you know, let's see what that third one's going to be. So be sure to tune in. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do that. And let's see what I managed to come up Let's see if I can talk. Let's see about that first. Let's see what I managed to come up with for this next set. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.